As a specialist, how did you get involved in the game of football? I mean, a lot of people play soccer and then make the transition. What was kind of your route that you made in terms of coming across?
Right. So, I mean, I've been playing football for as long as I can remember. Third grade, I started. I was playing other positions like DN, tight end, wide receiver, and I actually have 2 stress fractures in my back, which led me to punting because I couldn't play a normal position. So here I am. I was lucky enough my senior year to be good enough to get an offer to a D2 up north in Minnesota, and transferred out of there my sophomore year.
Yeah, like I say, you have the unique route of playing and then having to come here and then sitting behind Jake. I mean,
Right.
I'm sure you learned a lot, but I'm sure it's also the competitor in you also wants to be out there too, right?
Yeah, no doubt. I mean, going to Moorhead and playing my first 2 years, it was difficult to come here and, you see the guys out on the field and you're like, man, that should be me, or that was me 2 years ago, or not even. And yeah, it can be difficult at times, but I'm grateful that I was under Jake and where he's at now to learn from him, and as well as the coaching I got here. So I'm grateful for it.
How did he help make you better?
It was just kind of like having a big brother. Going into my old school, I didn't have a specialist coach, and I didn't really have any other punter above me. So I didn't have that lead in football, or that figure to look up to. And I guess Jake allowed me to, take a step back and learn and see what he's doing and get a different perspective of punting. So
Knowing that you have to be called upon to bail your team out puts a lot of pressure in you, because of course everybody watches. The last thing you want to do is get blocked or shank it. How much going into it do you have to have the short memory of, hey, whatever happened just that last kick,
Yeah.
this one could be totally different?
Right. Yeah, Creighton has been talking a lot about the, so what, now what. That's been a big part of the theme in Stackham. And I feel like as a specialist, you go out there and you just, you know you're going to be called upon in the game, and you have to keep your nerves in check. We can't, go crazy and celebrate like the normal, all the other guys do. When something big happens, you just got to, keep your composure and do your thing.
What would you say your style is? I mean, Jake started as a rugby guy and then finished more traditional and
Yep.
could do both. How would you say your style is?
I'm definitely traditional. I mean, being that I got into the game so late into punting, I really only developed traditional. It was right there in front of me with my coach. So that's what I've stuck with.
More on hang time, distance. What's for you? How do you grade your punts?
I would say, not as much as try to get the ball as far down the field, but hanging it up so the coverage can get there. That's what I've stuck with.
When you watch others out there, how do you maybe try to emulate them in some ways?
I mean, I'm always looking for little things that other people do to try and implement into my form. But I feel like where I'm at, and how far I've developed, I've stuck to a good routine, and I don't really need to make many changes on my end to further that. So at this point.
What kind of away from football? What do you enjoy doing? How do you de-stress?
Yeah, when it's available, a boat and a lake is all I need. I grew up on the water, so water sports, wakeboarding, surfing, that's me. I'm big into that.
I'm just saying, coming from the land of 10,000 lakes to Michigan,
Yep.
how do the lakes compare between the two states?
There's not as many here. I mean, obviously they're bigger if you go up north, but that's been the one. I'm so used to just lake hopping and going everywhere around the cities, and I do miss that about Minnesota, but it suffices. If you want to go dip your toes in Ford Lake for a day or two, it's fine.
How certainly winter comes much quicker in the north. I mean, how does that play in the routine of, hey, I like being outside, but the lake's going to freeze over before you know it?
Yeah, then it goes to snowboarding. it's either water sports or trying to get up on the biggest hill possible.
Growing up, heroes. Who were your heroes, or the people you looked up to?
Who are my heroes? I obviously my dad. His work ethic and a lot of what he taught me is stuck, and part of the majority of the reason I'm here is because of him. So obviously my dad, and then I don't know from. I've never really had a big like celebrity hero. More for punting wise, it's more people that I've watched, like you're talking about earlier, who I like how to get my form from. It's a little bit of watching like Ray Guy, for example, someone of his stature in the league to kind of, I don't know the word I'm looking for, but mind blank.
Yeah. With a young room in terms of specialists, I mean, it's kind of you and Steve that are the long-standing, been here multiple years. What's Steve like? He's quite the character. What's he like to watch and observe everything that is Stephen Bird?
That dude is crazy. He's one of the coolest people I've ever met. You could ask. He knows something about everything. Like, it's weird how much he knows, but he's just he's super humble, and he's never went behind me and done anything against me, and I respect him forever, and he's just the greatest. I love him.
He might be one of the most unique men in America that I've ever met.
Yeah, I would say he's the most unique person I've ever met, for sure.
When you look at that room, I mean, there's so many young kids. How have you tried to mentor them as well?
It's funny you say that, because Jesus he was 17 when he came in last year, and I was 22. And I mean, yes, that's a big gap in age, but it's kind of non-existent when you're with everyone. You kind of just go to that. Everyone's the same. We're all on the same team, so I don't really look at age, that much. And in terms of mentoring, everyone got here some way, somehow, and I feel like they're mature enough and they know what they're doing enough to where I don't need to be the father or big brother in some ways. But that's not to say that I don't offer advice and show the ropes and whatnot. So.
How do you get yourself prepared for game day? Some guys like to be really fired up. Some guys like to be more mellow. Where do you fall on that kind of scale?
I've always been just sit in my locker, laugh with people, joke. I don't really tend to take things as seriously. Not saying that I don't take the game seriously, but I've just been more relaxed. It gets keeps my mind at ease and my nerves down.
Stack 'em, the theme of the year. The seniors help come up with it. Coach Creighton talks about it each and every day. How have you taken it on a personal level?
Yeah, I think definitely taking the 1-0 approach. I think that resonates with me, because I always had an issue with I would kind of, when I was in my earlier stages of punting, I'd get hung up on my last game performance or my last punt even, and just kind of like, it happened, time to move on, take a 1-0, 1-0, like this next punt is a new punt, and the last punt doesn't matter. That's how I've been.
What's the biggest difference you've seen from the Division II level to having been here?
The speed at which the game is played. It's crazy how much faster, bigger, stronger, everyone is. It's not so much difference in terms of being a specialist. You can go anywhere and find good punters, good athletes around the nation in whatever division. But yeah, just the speed of the game for sure.